in to the hottest station on the planet.
Resistance is futile. The revolution has begun.
You're listening to Rebelpreneur Radio, helping you break the rules and build the business you need for the life you want. And now, broadcasting his pirate signal
from somewhere beyond the status quo,
here's your host, best-selling author, marketing and media strategist, Ralph Brogden.
Hello and welcome to Rebelpreneur Radio, the show that helps you build the business you need so you can live the life you want. I am your host, Ralph Brogden, discussing how in the world can we find the energy that we need to do what we need to do? How do we get through the day, right? When you're trying to build a business and you're also trying to live your life and balance all of these different responsibilities, where do you find the energy? And it's more than just mindset. It's physical energy you've got to have. You've got to be able to get up in the morning and do the things and get through the day. Do the things that you got to do to build your business. Where do we get the energy from? There are people in this world who specialize in figuring that stuff out, so I don't have to and you don't have to as well. We are so privileged to have one of those experts on the show with us today. Tansy Rodgers is the creator of BU Complete, Body Energy Unity Complete Lifestyle Coaching. Tansy specializes in coaching women who are ready to revive their vibrant, alive, and youthful selves through education on energy balancing techniques, hormones, real nutrition, effective workouts, and mindset work. Very important. Tansy coaches on how to help you recenter and create an upgraded version of yourself. Whole person health. I love it. Tansy, welcome to Rebelpreneur Radio.
Hi, Ralph. Thanks so much for having me on.
It is such a pleasure. And I can't wait to find out, how do we get more energy into our day? Now, I understand you work with women, right? And so I always ask, when I have people on who they work with women, will this help me as well? Maybe not with hormones, all right? But what about my physical energy? Do you have suggestions, and can you help people like me?
Absolutely. I actually work with men and women. I just learned to specialize a little bit closer into women because of my experience, my background.
Yes.
But I absolutely focus on training and working one-on-one with men and women and just finding out what that little piece is that they're missing in their lives to make them a better person. So really, it's not necessarily about, having the special skills to only work with the women of the population, but it's about finding out that one thing or those handful of things that is missing for that individual, male or female, and focusing on that and healing from that place.
I love that. And since we are all spiritual beings having a human experience, we all need that physical energy to get through the day.
Yes.
And so I want to find out how you do it, but first tell us what got you started in whole person health, being a lifestyle coach, a personal trainer, fitness instructor. Tell us the story of how you got from where you are, or how you got from where you were to where you are today.
Yeah, that's a really great question. So I knew that when I was a little girl, I always wanted to educate or teach in some capacity. It was me who was sitting there by myself, in a spare room with my loyal subjects of stuffed animals as I taught them math and reading and wanted them to do homework, right? So I always knew that I was a born educator and that I wanted to teach. But it wasn't until I got into my late 20s, early 30s, until that started to evolve. When I was young, I struggled, like I'm sure so many other teenagers, with self-confidence issues and learning how to take care of my body, not knowing how to take care of my body, and just having those confidence issues when you were surrounded by other people that either, you perceived as being better than you or prettier than you or, in better shape, whatever it was.
Yeah, that's still a huge problem, even for adults, isn't it?
It is, absolutely. And that, I'll mention that in a moment, that actually leads me into why I'm doing what I'm doing now. But yeah, so I started out with that. And then I had always been an active person. I love to exercise. I love to be active, but I still was very clumsy in my body and just wasn't very fit. I wasn't fit at that point, even though I played some sports. It wasn't until my senior year of high school, I walked down into my dad's basement, his gym basement, and he had just started and had built this beautiful basement, and this beautiful gym. And I walked down there and I looked around, and he had posters on the wall of some, pretty famous fitness people, bodybuilders and so forth. And I looked around and was like, oh my gosh, yes, this is where I belong. This is what feels like home. And it was from that point that I just dove headfirst into fitness and nutrition and learning about all that stuff, anything I could get my hands on. Now, here's the interesting part, Ralph. Even though I was starting to find my way, and from the outsider perspective looking in, I was by far the healthiest person that I knew. The people that surrounded me, I was just healthy and vibrant and energetic until maybe 5-6 years into my journey. I started to have massive issues, digestion issues, depression, anxiety. My body was hurting. I didn't talk about this stuff. People thought that I was happy and pain-free and everything was great because I had a smile on my face. But my body, my mind, my heart were bleeding. And I couldn't understand why, when I was doing all this stuff that I learned I was supposed to do, it had gotten so bad that I was even leading into thoughts of suicidal tendencies. And I don't share that a lot with people, but I think it's important for people out there to understand this, that, somebody may be really suffering on the inside and you don't know it because they look active, they look healthy, they look like they got their stuff together.
Yeah.
Yeah. So at that point, I started to realize, oh my goodness. And this was through many facets. It was through counseling. It was through reading and researching and learning. But I started to realize, oh my goodness, I'm doing everything except taking care of my emotions, my mental health, and my gut health. I was just a hot mess, So it was at that point that once I started to turn some things around and I started to focus and get the help that I needed for my mental and emotional and my gut health support, things started to change. And it was at that key moment, Ralph, that I started to stop and listen to the people and especially the women around me. And they started talking, but they weren't talking. It was all of the nonverbal cues. It was all of the things that they were saying without saying a word. And that totally touched on my heart to start to drive me into wanting to help people on a deeper level because I knew how bad it hurt. I didn't want anybody else to suffer like I felt that I was suffering.
I love that story. And I appreciate you sharing that. So what a personal story that really illustrates this whole idea behind whole person health. Because you realize it's more than just the physical body. There's other things going on the inside of a person that's more than just the body, but it certainly can affect the body and vice versa, can't it?
Yeah, absolutely. You said something a little earlier. You said we're spiritual beings having a human experience. And I absolutely resonate with that so much. We are operating through what our mind is telling us to do. Yes, we have the physical human body that we need to nurture and take care of so that it creates a nice home for us to live in. But at the same time, it is truly our spiritual health, our mental and our emotional health that creates the foundation for how we feel physically.
I love that. And that is 100% in alignment with my philosophy on life. Everything is connected. And a strength in one area becomes a strength in another area. A weakness in one area becomes a weakness in other areas. And that's why, the tagline of the show is building the business you need so you can live the life you want. It's not all about the business. Business is just one part of your life. And if you design it correctly and design it well, it can become a wonderful aspect of your life that helps you to enjoy life. But I don't want my life to be all about my business. I want business to be a part of my life, but not my reason for living.
Yeah. If you look into some of the most successful entrepreneurs on whatever level, but some of the real successful ones, you'll see a running theme that self-care is high in their priorities, either exercising, taking care of their body in some way, proper healthy nutrition, meditation, whatever. But there is self-care that's somewhere very high on their value list. And I think that really says a lot because that creates the well-rounded experience.
I agree. Now, you went from working full-time and having this as kind of a hobby. Your business was a hobby. And now you have dealt with some pretty massive mindset struggles until you were able to switch and make that big leap over to doing your business full time. And that's got to be an incredible and liberating thing for you to accomplish. Share with us a little bit about what that transition was like.
Yeah, that was a huge step in not only my business, of course, but also in my self-confidence and my feeling of personal empowerment. So I went from working full-time. Speaking of the work that I did right prior to me leaving, I was, and still do physical therapy. I'm a physical therapist assistant, so I do physical therapy. And one of the things that I found so hard, Ralph, was that I would go to work every day and I would have conversations with men and women who were feeling fatigue, pain, depression, anxiety, inflammation throughout their entire body. But when we would talk deeply, they weren't eating the right things. They weren't really taking care of themselves outside of the rehab setting. Their mindset was way off course for where they needed to be to heal at its most optimum way. Mm-hmm. And I got to the point, I just couldn't do it anymore. I mean, I felt like I was, because I was sitting, I would educate and I would talk to these people about, hey, you could do this or you could do that. And when I would continue to have these conversations and I felt like they weren't going anywhere, I thought this is no longer my only calling. Mm-hmm. I need to now be somewhere else and I need to take it to a different level.
Yeah, because you feel like at some point you're just putting a Band-Aid over the symptoms and you're not really dealing with the root of the problem.
And that's exactly what it was. And I mean, physical therapy for the most part, there are, not every time, but for the most part is more of a conventional standpoint, so I had people that were coming in that were taking some of the, most potent painkillers and were prescribed all of these conventional medicines. And I'm not saying that those things don't have a place in the right setting, but when it was what they were relying on, that became really hard for me to navigate through, knowing that there was a better way.
Yeah. Yeah. What would you say is the biggest problem? I mean, why is it that people know what they should do, but they don't? And I mean, why do we keep struggling with the same issues, the same problems over and over again? But what is it? What is the biggest obstacle that you see with the people that come to you for help?
That is such a great question, because there is a reason that the health industry is absolutely booming and that it is a multi-billion-dollar industry, right? It is because we have a hard time getting out of our own way. Listen, I'm going to be honest. The majority of us, we know what we have to do. We know at least the basics of what we need to do, right? Even the rehab patients that I worked with that then transitioned over to me, they knew the basic things that they needed to do. But the main core problem that I run into all the time is that people have a really hard time either believing that they're capable of either being a different person or being in a different state that they are right now, or they have a really hard time believing that they can even be any better than what they are.
Yeah.
So it is, again, that mindset.
It is. And when we study this in psychology, it's referred to as self-efficacy. It's the belief that you're able to do something. And it's so interesting with strategic communication. Very often you are trying to boost the self-efficacy of the audience who doesn't believe that they're able to do the things that you want them to do. Exercise, eat healthy, move around, talk to your teenagers. And if you don't believe deep within yourself that it's even possible for you to change or possible for you to make a shift in your behavior, then it doesn't matter who is telling you you're not going to do it. How do we overcome that? What can we do to boost our self-efficacy, our confidence, our belief in ourselves that we can make a change and we can improve ourselves?
Yeah, that's a great question too. And I think the first step is really finding a core person or group of people that are going to help to support you when you're feeling low. Okay. So that's going to be super important, is to have those people to help support you. But, sometimes that's through a coach, or sometimes that is through a counselor, or sometimes that's through a best friend that just, doesn't give you any nonsense, and they just say it the way that it is. But you need to have those people that are going to help to hold you accountable and to help to give you good, positive feedback.
Can you do this over the internet? Can you get a group of like-minded people, say in a Facebook chat or something? Is that the same thing? Would that work, or is that not the same thing?
It absolutely can work. And I am living proof of that, because in my world, I don't have a super large group of people that I consider to be those individuals that can pick me up at any point when I'm falling.
Yeah. And I'm kind of a big guy, so I don't know of anybody that can pick me up when I'm falling.
Well, you know what, though? If they get on a good, solid workout program, they may be able to.
They might. Yeah, no, that's true. They might. But yeah, I definitely relate to that. It's not like I have a big physical network of supporters standing around me. Yeah.
And, and that's actually what kind of helped to get me to where I'm at now, was reaching outside of my immediate environment and inner circle and looking online. I always joke and say, there's people that I have followed and that have been my virtual friends that they don't even know I exist, and they don't know that I was following them.
Wow. Yeah.
But it got me through, So.
Yeah. So, I mean, you never know. I mean, there's a great lesson there that when you lead, when you stand up, when you speak out, when you have a message and you get that message out to the world, you have no idea who is listening and who is being impacted by your message. And hopefully the message that you put out, the example that you give, hopefully it's positive and it's transformative in a powerful way. But it is something to be very mindful of.
Yeah, absolutely. And then there's 3 more things that are real quick tips that you can do immediately to start changing it around. So the first thing is stopping and breathing, because a lot of times when we get stressed out, we hold our breath. We become really tight, and then our stress increases. But if we can stop and breathe, our stress automatically starts to decrease. We become a little bit less judgmental on ourselves and other people, and we become more motivated. So stopping and taking 3 to 5 nice, long, deep breaths is quite helpful.
I like that.
Number 2, create 3 to 5 I am statements. So every morning when you wake up, you need to power yourself to get yourself on the right foot. So I am statements, something quick like, I am powerful, I am courageous, I am beautiful, I am strong. And you just go with those. saying them with conviction, saying them every morning to start to change that mindset really does a number on the subconscious.
I really love that. And it's such powerful advice. And I'll make the point here that I made in a previous episode where we were talking about visualization. And this is really the same thing, but it's verbalizing. It's verbalization as opposed to visualization. You are expressing something with your words to affirm something in your mind and to make that a reality. And it's so powerful because we know it works. How do we know it works? Because you already do it. You're just saying the wrong things.
Right. Yes, you are. Yes.
Stop saying all the stupid stuff about yourself and get out of the negative self-talk and say positive things. Speak to yourself in a positive manner. Use these I am statements instead of, say, you already do this. A lot of people, they'll say, I never.
Mm-hmm.
I never, or how come, or why me. Yep. So you already do this. You're just doing it in a way that's tearing you down. Instead, create these I am statements that Tansy is talking about and begin to use what you already know how to do and do very well in a negative way. Just turn that around with a little bit of different energy and begin to create some powerful shifts in yourself.
Absolutely. And then that actually takes it into my last tip. When you create that courage and that self-empowerment within yourself with these I am statements and with taking those deep breaths, it then takes you into that ability to be a little bit more daring. And that's my third tip. Be daring. So doing one thing most days that pushes you outside of your comfort zone automatically starts to boost up your believing that you can do this. You can do things. You can take those chances and you're not going to completely fail, So be daring in your everyday life with little tiny low-hanging fruit options.
I love that. And that is classic. I don't know if you realize it or not, but this is classic psychology of building self-efficacy, building the belief in yourself. Now, you can label it different things. People will call it raising your vibrational energy. If you're more woo-woo, you might describe it in those terms. Or you might just talk about self-talk or mindset, or you might approach it from an energy and a positive thinking perspective, or a psychological perspective, self-efficacy. All of this is describing the same outcome. You're transforming, you're taking responsibility for your own thoughts and behaviors, and you are making these positive shifts. And I love what you say about starting small, because once you prove to yourself that you can do this, then you can be daring and take another step and take another step and take another step. And you build that momentum that works in your life, and it also works in your business. This is really, really wonderful that you would share this. What are you working on right now, Tansy? I know you've got a lot going on because you're helping so many people, but what are you working on right now that you'd like to share with our listeners?
Yeah, so I'm really excited. I have two big projects. One of those projects is I am finally starting to create a good, solid YouTube channel that I'm going to bring out, some of the big pain points that my clients talk to me about, doing some interviews, some other really cool things to help people, just be healthier all around. But my other thing that I'm doing is I have a program that's going to be coming out. It's called Eat, Move, and Think Happy. It's an online 10-week group coaching program, Ralph. It's what we were talking about just a little bit ago.
Exactly.
It's actually going to be a group coaching program. And the key with this is that I want to give other individuals that don't have that support or don't have that accountability an ability to not only work with me and learn and help to navigate them on their journey, but also to help get the support from a surrounding group and other members.
Very exciting that you would do that. And I got to say, when I ask that question, I try to ask questions that I kind of halfway know the answer to. What we have found with psychological studies is that it makes no difference if the support is face-to-face or if the support is online, like in a group coaching situation or a Facebook chat or something like that. Different people respond to different things differently, but there is no right or wrong way to get and receive support. You can get the support you need online if face-to-face is not an option for whatever reason. And so I encourage our listeners to take advantage of these resources, take advantage of these groups, these classes and courses that are going to help you get to where you want to be and get there in a way that is healthy and get there in a way that is customized for you. Tansy, how can our listeners connect with you and find out more about your products, about your upcoming class, and all the other great things that you have to offer?
Yeah, so they can go directly to my website, which would be www.tansyrogers.com, and it's spelled TANSYRODGERS.com. You can contact me right through there. If you want to be put on a waiting list for that 10-week program, you can contact me and just let me know that you want to be put on the waiting list. I'll get you signed up. And then you can also go to my Instagram or my Facebook handles, which would be at TansyNR. Instagram is at TansyNR. Facebook is facebook.com/Tansy Rodgers.
Perfect.
So those would be the best places to contact me. And I encourage everybody that's listening, even if you don't know that, if any of this is even right for you, or even if you just have a question or you just want somebody to reach out to me. I'm always looking to meet some amazing people and just help out in any way that I can.
Tansy, you are a real pleasure, and I appreciate the value that you have added to the show by helping us to get a handle on our physical health and our mental energy. It is so critical and so important if we ever want to build the business we need to live the life that we want. So I appreciate you being on the show today. Any final thoughts or maybe a big motivational quote you want to leave us with?
Yes. My final thoughts for the show is that really just stop waiting for other people to give you permission to prioritize your happiness and your health. Stop waiting. Because when we get stuck in the shoulds and the wants from all those people around us, we start to limit ourselves and believe that we can't be healthy. We can't, do that marathon or that half marathon. We can't even go to the gym and work out because we're not good enough. You know what? Stop listening to people that bring you down and give yourself the permission. The best time to start is right now, really. I mean, it doesn't matter what level you're at. It just takes some baby steps to turn into running. And then when you start to see it, oh my gosh, you really start to realize I am reviving my vibrant and alive youthful self.
I love it. Yeah. And that's the power of small steps.
Yes.
You cannot run until you walk, and you can't walk until you crawl, but take some step forward today in your life and in your business. I've been speaking with Tansy Rodgers. She is the creator of Be You Complete, Body Energy Unity, Complete Lifestyle Coaching. She specializes in coaching women. She also will take on some men who are ready to revive their vibrant, alive, and youthful selves. So if you would like an upgraded version of yourself, check out Whole Person Health with Tansy Rodgers at tansyrogers.com, and we'll have that link on the Rebelpreneur website as well. Tansy, it's been a real pleasure to get to know you. Thank you so much for being on the show today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. This was wonderful.
You've been listening to Rebelpreneur Radio with Ralph Brogden. Download the show notes and much more at rebelpreneur.com.